All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our next deep dive into ProQuest Research Companion. My name is Christina, and I work at the East Mississippi Community College Scuba Library. Just a little bit of housekeeping before I really get started. I'm going to ask everyone to please keep themselves on mute. So, excuse me, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. I'm going to be pausing periodically throughout this presentation to check the chat box. If for whatever reason I don't get to your question, or if you think of a question after this presentation is over, don't worry, I will be putting up my contact information at the end so you can shoot me an email. All right, so a brief breakdown of what I'd like to cover today. I'm going to go over basic account resources, starting with the learning modules and then going over tools. And then I'm going to move into account-specific resources. All right, so are there any questions before I get started? All right, so first thing you'll need to do is to go to East Mississippi Community College's website. Then you'll go over to Student Services and click the library link. This is going to take you directly to the library's website. There is a lot of really good information here, so if you do have the time, I really recommend playing around a little. But we're here for the online resources, so go ahead and click that A to Z online resource link. So once you get here, this is a list of all of the databases and online resources that are available at East Mississippi Community College through the libraries. In a very broad sense, they are organized into two categories. You have open databases, which pretty much anyone can use, and they're the ones that have that open padlock on them. So you can just click the link and you're on the site. And then we have closed databases, and those are the ones that have a closed padlock on them. And that means you're going to need to put your username and password in to access them. Don't panic about creating a username and password. It's the same one you would use when logging into Canvas or Leo. So we're going over ProQuest Research Companion, so we're going to go straight to the P's. And it's just about halfway down the page right here. All right, actually, before I go further into that, I do briefly want to go over with our databases. If you're new to this site, you can go here and select a subject for your paper, or go over to the database type, and these are the different types of databases that we have. So those are two ways to kind of narrow it down if you're just starting and trying to figure out what resources you would like to use. All right, back to ProQuest Research Companion. So ProQuest Research Companion is actually one of two databases, or excuse me, one of three databases that the library really recommends new to college or new to research students use when, again, starting research and starting pretty much any paper or presentation. So the other two resources are going to be Academic Search Premier and the EBSCO Discovery Service. These three databases work really well together, helping you to get a good solid start when it comes to doing research. All right, so ProQuest, now, as I mentioned, it's a locked database, so you will be needing to put in your username and password. And there we go. So a little information about this resource. ProQuest Research Companion is ProQuest's flagship information literacy product. It was built to help students do more effective scholarly research and to support educators as they teach the core information literacy principles of finding, evaluating, and using information. So basically what this resource does is it teaches you how to do research. And it's meant, so see, this is the part where I always get a little tongue-tied, so please forgive me if I start and stop a couple of times here. So this site is a really good site. A lot of the learning modules here are meant to be done sequentially. So you're supposed to start with one, then move to two, then move to three. However, there's no lock or any mechanism in place that says you have to complete step one before you can move on to part two. So you do have fluidity, and it's very self-paced, and you can kind of do what you want. However, it is recommended that you start with one and work your way down. Okay, so As you can see on the main page of this resource, the information is broken down into 3 sections. You have the finding information section, you have evaluating the information section, and you have the use information section. And each of these 3 sections are further broken down into essentially 2 other sections. You have the learning modules, which are going to be these right here, 1, 2, and it goes all the way down to 10. And then you'll also have the related tools section. I will be going over some, let me rephrase. I'm going to be going into one of the learning modules to let you see what all is incorporated in a learning module. And then I will also be going over all 4 tools that are associated with this resource. Okay, so let's dig in. I do want to mention before I start clicking on the different learning modules, you'll see that there's a little time box here. So this kind of gives you an idea of how many minutes each learning module should take to complete. Don't panic when you see these long time frames, the 17 minutes, the 22 minutes, because each learning module is comprised of several short videos. So this one, for instance, is 12 minutes long, but it may have about 4 different videos in it, and each of those, or excuse me, 6 videos in it, and each of those is about 2 minutes long. The longest video clip I have seen within the Research Companion is 2.5 minutes at this point. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and show you what a learning module looks like. So I started with learning module 2 because that has all of the information in it. Learning module 1, it's a starting point, as it says, where do I start? And it doesn't have all of the information. Now, starting from 2 onward, you're gonna have a lot more options. So for instance, you'll see that this learning module starts with learning objectives. So these objectives are what you should be able to accomplish once you have finished this entire section, or once you have finished the learning module. So you'll see that's the start. Then you have the videos and text. So as you can see, there are about 7 short video clips within this section. Again, the longest is about 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So you don't have to sit down and do it all at once. It's very easy to just do a little bit at a time. If for whatever reason, when you're watching the video, you either can't hear it or you're in a place that it's too noisy, there is a closed captioning option. And you also have the option of clicking the transcripts, so you can pretty much read all of the text that's being spoken, or excuse me, you can read all of the words that are being spoken in the video itself. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is the checklist. So I like lists. I'm a person that writes lists a lot, so this is actually really helpful for me. It breaks down what you should do in each of these learning modules. So for this one, in how to choose a topic, first thing you want to do is just make a list of things you're interested in. Once you complete that list, check, and just go down. And this should set you up really well for when you get into the next learning module and on where do I find that information. So that's what the checklist is. Then the last thing I want to show you is the terms list. So the terms list are words that you may not be familiar with that are being introduced within this lesson. So that's really quick how a learning module will work. Now, before I move away from this learning module, I do want to show one more thing. This is going to be geared more toward instructors. So if you really like this video, or if there's one of these videos that you think is really great and you want to incorporate it in your Canvas or a Learning LMS system, you can go and click embed this video and it'll create that embed link so you can highlight, right, copy and paste it wherever you need it to go. You are also able to create a customized playlist. So say we're going over evaluating resources. I can go in here and click specific clips that I want, or I can do select all. And you'll notice on the right side of the screen, there is an option to get this to autoplay. So I want it to go through, start at the beginning and automatically play through all the, I think, 7 clips. And you also have the option of adding a recommended link at the end. So once the videos are done, you can put this at the bottom and it'll be a link that students can click when they finish the playlist. And then click embed playlist, and then it has created that embed code for you. All right, so that's very briefly how one of the learning modules is going to look. So the next thing I want to go over are the tools that are available to you through ProQuest Research Companion. Now you'll notice here that the tools are kind of in different places on each of these sections. So the row that it is in is, let me rephrase this. So for instance, with the search aid, you need to look at the search aid, or rather you should look at the search aid tool after you have completed where do I find information. You should look at the source evaluation aid after you've finished how do I evaluate sources. That's kind of how it's set up, just to make sure you understand what you're using. So again, we're going to go down the list. I'm going to start with the search aid. And if you get confused as to what these tools do, they do offer short video clips on what exactly this tool is. So this is a search aid. So you just type in your keywords. Let's do change. Would help if I could spell. And then you can add more terms. You can take terms off of here. Unfortunately, this is only associated with Google, so you will click on that and you're going to want to look at the scholarly articles link here. Should be one of the first ones up there. Normally it's the very first one, but do look for that scholarly articles link, because that'll take you to Google Scholar, and these articles will have more weight when it comes to your research. Right, I'm going to close that out. So that's how the search aid works. Now, the second tool I want to go over is the source evaluation aid. And as you've noticed, there are 2 tabs over here, so I do not have to keep going back to that ProQuest Research Companion, the main page. I can just go over to Learning Modules or Tools and kind of go back and forth that way. So the next one we'll go over is the source evaluation aid. So this, you pretty much would put in either the website information, the periodical information, or the book information, and it'll bring back some information on the topic, or excuse me, on the item, to help you evaluate, is this a good resource or not? For instance, I'm going to start with The Onion. So, do you think, excuse me, here we go, this is the one I needed. Do you think The Onion is a good resource? All right, so the first thing you'll notice once you've put it in is that it is designated a possible fake news site. So once the ProQuest wants you to be aware, it also tells you why it's considered a possible fake news site. And then it goes into, like, it's a .com, which means it's unrestricted. This is the owner, and here's a brief description of the site. So that's how the Onion would look, and I will show you very quickly what it would look if you did the census website. So it's restricted. You'll notice there is no warning across the top. This is the site owner, and here again is a brief link of what is there, or what the website is. Now, periodicals, for those of you who don't know, they actually do define a periodical. A periodical is something that gets published on a regular basis. So it's something like a magazine, a newspaper, or a journal. So you do have that. So you have the option of putting in the ISSN number or the title of the periodical, such as the New York. And here's some basic information. So yeah, it's the publication happens every day. It's the audience is the consumer. Here's a brief description. So that's how the periodical one would work. And let's see. I want to see. Someone actually looked up this book earlier, and so I just wanted to see if it would show up, and it does. All right, so here is some basic information about the book. So you have, again, you have the option of typing in the title of the book, the ISBN number, or even adding an author. So that's very quickly how the source evaluation aid would work. Next, I want to go over the citation builder. Now, the citation builder, unfortunately, only covers ALA and APA and MLA styles. So if you're doing something in Chicago, you will need to go back to the library website and look at a citation builder, such as literally Citation Builder or Chet or BibMe or one of those online builders. So you can just go in here, again, type in the URL or the title of the article. It goes for journal, magazine, newspapers, or books, and then select the style. So I'm going to briefly pick a random, let's look at this one. So what you would do, you would copy and paste the URL in here and display fields. So it's going to ask you to go in and put in the information if you can. So let's see. This does not look like it actually has an author. So we can leave that field blank. The article title is really, really long, so I am just going to type in, that's kind of weird. Volume, does it have that volume information? No, not real. Oh, wait, I lied, it does. Volume 56, issue 29. So volume 56, issue 29, publication year. Its publication was for today. Oh, excuse me, not today. It was published yesterday, so the 21st. Oh, excuse me, of 2020. And it's one page essentially. And then create citation. Oh, excuse me, I messed up. It's not a print publication, it is a website. And there you go. Now you have your citation for your works cited page or your reference page. Okay, so that's really briefly how Citation Builder works. The last tool I want to go over with you guys is the revision aid. Now, before I get into this, I want to stress that this is not the same as going to the writing center or talking with your instructor. This is a tool. This is like handing your paper to your friend to review it before turning it in, all right? So I really do not want someone to type their paper or put their paper in here and think that, okay, someone has like a professional has proofread it. That's not the case. This is not a grammar aid, and it's not a spell check. It will mess up. So what you would do here is you would highlight, copy and paste your text in the box, and then click review. All right, so two things that it's showing you is that there are several really long sentences that the computer thinks you should maybe reevaluate. And there's several instances of when you used passive voice, and there's a couple of empty phrases in here. So you can go in, make the corrections and click review again, or you can start over. So that's, again, really quickly how to use the revision aid. And once again, for all four of the tools, if you ever get confused on how to use them, there is a short video in each one that'll go over how to use the tools. Okay, so that's really down and dirty and very, very brief. So this is this is what you can do without an account. Next thing I'm going to go over is what you can do with an account in ProQuest Research Companion. Creating an account is really straightforward, although you might have a little problems with the create a password. I had some issues getting it to accept my password even when I copied and pasted it between the two. So just, be aware. You'll put your username and password in, log in, and I'm going to go ahead and say there is not too much of a difference when using the free account versus creating an account on your own. The biggest thing is that the ProQuest Research Companion will keep track of where you are within these learning modules. If you're using your own personal computer or tablet or what have you, then this is not as big of an issue. However, if you're using a public computer, such as one in the computer lab, it might be a little beneficial to create an account just so that you can kind of keep track of where you are within each of these 3 sections. Excuse me. So the big reason why you would make an account is that you will notice before you start the videos, there is a self-check question. So there's like a pre-video question. You watch the video, and if you choose to, there will be a review question at the end. Now, as you can see, right now, we are not set up to have review questions for after the video. If this is something instructors would like me to look into, please shoot me an email or contact me, and I will contact ProQuest and see what I can do about having that option available. But so there's a self-check question from before the video starts. So regardless of which resource you used. Is that true or false? I say false. Yay. Okay. So I got that one right. And then I can continue on and watch the video. So that's kind of the biggest reason why someone would make an account. You would have the option also at the end to check out what your assessment is. All right. As you can see, I'm not doing so well when it comes to these self-check questions. But yeah, so it can be fun. So that's the assessment section, and that's pretty much what an account would be. Oopsie. I'm gonna go back to my assessment or the main research page. So that's kind of short and sweet how ProQuest Research Companion is set up. And that's all I have to show you for today. So here is my contact information. You can either contact me at this email or my coworker Lisa Justice from the Golden Triangle campus. And I want to mention that our next deep dive is going to be on Prep Step 2-year college edition, and it will be on Wednesday, August 19th at 10 a.m. All right, so I'm going to leave this up for the next 8 minutes until we hit 8:30, or excuse me, until we hit 10:30. So I hope I showed you guys some interesting things, and I hope you learned something from it. And again, this video will be posted to YouTube after this is over. So it'll be online probably sometime tomorrow. Thank you again for joining me. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email, all right? I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Bye.